The thing is, with all of this, is that you realize that life is not a final product. It's not something that you need to get to. It's actually the journey that it makes it so beautiful. Hello beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Camille. I launched the Blossom Experience as a way to follow my dreams, follow my passions, and make myself get out of my comfort zone and just put myself out there, and also to inspire people to do the same. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about the 5 top realizations and mindset shifts that changed my life. And in that I mean shifts that help me have a better and more peaceful and more joyful relationship with life in general. So let's start off with number 1. Number 1 is the thing that I most say to everyone in my life, that is, there's no good or bad. And in that sense, I mean that you're not putting your experiences into categories. So you're not labeling an experience as good or bad, because experiences are just experiences. And I feel that when you don't label them, you can actually allow yourself to experience them and put yourself through them, but without actually prejudging them as good or bad. I'm gonna give you an example in my life. In the end of 2016, I was laid off of my job. I was an intern, they couldn't pay me a full-time one, so I had to leave my former job. And in the beginning of 2017, I had a very, very dark period in which I was suffering with a lot of eating disorders and a bit of depression, and I was having a very hard time in that, a very challenging time in that moment in my life. But instead of labeling it as a bad time or like a bad moment or a bad experience, I actually see it as one of the times that I was most able to grow. And it was in that point in time where I found meditation, where I found self-knowledge, where I found healing and all of the stuff that helped me build the person that I am today. So that is something that I really try to make people see, that there's not a good or a bad experience. They are just experiences, and that when we allow them to bring us what we need to understand and the lessons that we need to learn from them, all of them become valuable experience. So I think that when we take off all of the labels, we're just there with all of the experiences being present and not prejudging any of them. And from this, I'm already venturing on to my second tip, which is there's no good or bad food. And now that is one that it took me a while to understand and to grasp, and it only made sense to me in the end of last year to the beginning of this year. So I've mentioned this before in another video. I've suffered with eating disorders for a long period of time, and when I had at least my eating disorders, I used to categorize foods, as I think most of people do, as good or bad. So when I had my cheat day, I would eat bad foods, and then when I had my healthy days, I would eat good food. And for a long time, it was just like that, because that's what society tells us, that's what science tells us, and what sometimes we see on Instagram and on videos and on documentaries. And so I had this idea stuck on my head for a really long time. And it wasn't until I went to a dietitian that studied food in a more holistic way, and it was there where she presented me with the idea of intuitive eating and the idea of not categorizing foods in good or bad. And that was mind-blowing to me, because I first received that information, I kind of didn't agree with it. I kind of was like, that woman is full of shit, like that's not possible. Like, how are French fries the same as lettuce? Like, doesn't make any sense. And it was really interesting for me to finally grasp this concept, and it's still a work in progress, but for me it was so beautiful to see that every food has its place and its moment in your life. And I think that when we learn to just embrace food in general and not categorize them, we can live a more peaceful life towards food, in relationship to food. I still do struggle sometimes with judging and preconceiving food, but it's something that really slowly was built in my mind, and I wanted to put this out here so that you can also try to bring this idea for yourself, and then also slowly, step by step, try to embrace this concept more and more. Moving on to the third top mindset shift that changed my life, and that was our mind and our ego are not our enemies. And by that I mean we need to embrace them. We need to have compassion for them. Whenever I see like those shirts or mottos that go like, your ego is not your amigo, or kick your ego out of the room, or something like that, I'm like, no man, like your ego is here to, like, your ego is part of you, you know, your mind is part of you. How are you gonna practice love and practice unity and the energy of trying to hold compassion for others if you don't even hold compassion for your mind or your ego? Because your mind's job is basically to keep you alive and keep you safe, and your mind and your ego, they're always gonna try to keep you in your comfort zone. So it's not that they are bad, they just need to be seen, and they need to be embraced, and we need to have compassion for them so we can move even further. So that's something that really changed my life, because instead of trying to battle my mind and battle my ego and go like, I'm not seeing you, and just pretending that my ego is not there, I go like, okay ego, I see you. I see that you're afraid, I see that you're scared. I'll give you my hand and we'll come here, I'll give you a hug and everything will be fine. And then my ego just calms down, because that's what they want. They just want to be comfortable, and they just need to know that you're seeing them. And when you give them that, then they will calm down. So that's my third tip, and that's a big one. My fourth tip is there's no right way to live your life. And that is something that up to this point, I think you can say that all of these tips, of course, I'm a human being, I'm still forever on the process of working through them, but they are things that I legit think that changed my life and the way that I live. But okay, brackets over. So the fourth one, there's no right way to live your life. So when I got out of college, my parents and society told me that I needed to have a 9-to-5 job, I needed to save money, I needed to get a house, and then get married and get a puppy and have kids, and yeah, I had to have a 9-to-5 job until the rest of my life. But the thing is, with me, I am very stubborn. I'm a Taurus, I'm very stubborn, and I rarely agree with what society tells me. So when I got out of college, I was like, there's no way, this life's not for me, I'm not gonna go back to a 9-to-5 job, I don't like this is like, no. And that's when I first thought about starting a YouTube channel, and then because of society's and my parents and my family's views on it, I didn't start it. But that's when I first started to think about what's the right way to live my life. And now I can tell you that there's no right way to live your life. People have a lot of different ways of living their lives, and I think that that's the most beautiful thing for me, travel, because I get to meet a lot of different people and I get to meet a lot of different ways of living life, not just the way that you were taught or that your parents live or that your family lives. There are so many different ways to live your life. You can create the life that you want, you can create the lifestyle and the way of living that makes sense for you. So if for you it doesn't make sense to stay and sit in a desk job from 9 to 5, go find your way of living. If it does make sense for you, that's great, do it. What I'm trying to convey with this point is that you should live a life that you are proud of and that you're happy and that it brings you joy. You should not live a life that you're not really happy in it or that you find it's mediocre. And that's something that really shifted for me, because every time that I get trapped on thinking that I should go back to Brazil, or that I should have a life that it's actually normal, or what is normal, I always go back steps like, and I go like, wait, what is actually gonna bring me joy? Why am I here living this life for? Am I here to live under someone else's dreams, or am I here to have fun and live my own life and live my own dreams? So since there's no right way to live your life, you are the one that makes it up. You are the one that knows what's the right way for you, and that can be not my right way, but that can be yours. Venturing on to the 5th mindset shift that changed my life. That is so hard to say, mindset shift that changed my life, and that is discomfort is where you grow. And that for me is a huge one. It's really challenging to do, but it's something that since I began traveling really showed me that that is actually true. For many years, I was a person that was really scared of a bunch of things. I was scared of the dark. I was scared of going out, not having a plan. I was scared of traveling by myself. I was scared of grabbing the car in the middle of the night. I was scared of going to parties. I was scared of a bunch of things. I was mainly scared of getting out of my comfort zone because my mind didn't know what was on the other side. And instead of just grabbing my mind's hand and going like, yeah, I see you, but let's go. It will be fine, I swear. I went like, oh my god, mine, I know, I'm so scared as well. Let's just stay here and be in our comfort zones. And since I began traveling and I left my comfort zone, I started traveling by myself. I started scooting in the middle of the night by myself or with strangers. I realized that there is so much growth that happens when you're out of your comfort zone. And that is such a beautiful way of living as well. And I think that when you put them all together, they just make up such a beautiful experience. Then you can live a life that you're so passionate and proud, and you get so much joy out of living a life like that. It's not all flowers and it's not always beautiful, but it is a beautiful experience. It is a blossoming experiment, and it's really challenging because of all of the discomfort that you go through. But the thing is that maybe I'll just add a 6th mindset shift. The thing is with all of this is that you realize that it's not that life is not a final product. It's not something that you need to get to. It's actually the journey that it makes it so beautiful. So it's actually all of the journey of figuring all of these things out and actually acting on them, and sometimes not, and sometimes falling off your mindset shift track. That's the beauty of living, you know? It's actually living. It's actually experiencing. And for me, that's the hugest mindset shift. Realizing what a beautiful present it is to be alive and to experience all of these things that we can while we are in planet Earth. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of this. Like this video if you enjoyed seeing those type of things. Comment here below if you have any mindset shifts as well that you want to share with other people. And subscribe if you haven't already so you can see more videos like this. I hope you have or had an inspiring day, and I'll see you very soon, and goodbye. I really want to insert this in the video. So my guest house has like this construction going on, and there's like 6 people in a staircase staring at me because I'm talking to a fucking phone like I'm a weirdo, which I probably are. which I probably am. So yeah, okay, goodbye.